Let me tell you a little secret. Turning 70 doesn't mean life gets smaller. In fact, if you do it right, it gets richer. Most people think happiness fades with age, but they're wrong. It just changes shape. And today, I'm going to show you how some of the happiest women over 70 are actually more joyful, more free, and more at peace because of 12 things they do every single day. Now, I wasn't always this cheerful. In fact, my 60s were harder than I expected. My energy changed, my social circle shrank, and for a while I wondered, is the best behind me? But something shifted. Not all at once. Day by day, I began building small habits, tiny daily choices that brought joy back into my life. This video isn't about pretending to be young or forcing a smile. It's about real things, grounded in wisdom, psychology, and simple beauty that joyful older women practice daily to stay emotionally strong, spiritually light, and deeply fulfilled. Whether you're 60, 75, or even 85, these 12 habits can help you wake up feeling grounded and go to bed feeling grateful. Some of them are so simple, you might laugh. Others will surprise you. But together, they are powerful. So if you're ready to feel brighter on the inside, then join me. Let's talk about the 12 daily habits of truly happy women over 70. Let's begin. Habit 1. They start the day with a morning ritual. The happiest women over 70 don't start their mornings by grabbing their phones or jumping into chores. They begin with intention, not perfection, not pressure, but something gentle, meaningful, and grounding. A morning ritual. Now let me be clear. This doesn't have to be a complicated routine or some influencer's 5 a.m. miracle plan. For most of us, it's a quiet moment that reminds us we are still alive, still here, and that this new day is a gift. For me, I open my blinds, stretch my hands to the sky, and whisper a short prayer. Thank you, Lord, for one more sunrise. Help me carry it well. Some mornings I write down 3 intentions. Other mornings I just sit quietly with my tea and let the birdsong fill the silence. Why does this matter? Because how we start our day sets the emotional tone for everything that follows. A calming morning ritual reduces stress, boosts mood, and gives you something powerful, a sense of control. At a stage in life where our bodies and schedules might feel unpredictable, that kind of grounding is golden. So if you're waking up feeling scattered or a little heavy, start small. Light a candle. Stretch your arms. Say a prayer. Even 3 minutes of peace can change the entire rhythm of your day. Habit 2. They get fresh air daily. Have you ever stepped outside in the early morning, taken a deep breath, and just felt better? Happy women over 70 don't wait for perfect weather or big outdoor plans. They simply make it a point to get fresh air every single day. And no, I don't mean hiking a mountain. I mean stepping into your yard, sitting on your porch, or even opening your window wide and leaning into the breeze. Fresh air does more than just feel good. It actually helps lower your blood pressure, improves your immune system, and increases your energy naturally. That's not just my opinion. It's science. Studies show that natural sunlight boosts your serotonin, the feel-good hormone that stabilizes your mood. Even just 15 minutes outside can increase mental clarity and reduce anxiety. And let's not forget about vitamin D, which becomes more essential for our bones and brain as we age. Some mornings, I just sit by my little garden with a cup of tea, watch the birds peck around, and let the wind touch my face. No noise, no pressure. Just me, in the morning. Other days, I walk to the end of the street and back. Slowly, and you know what? That little walk? It's my therapy. You don't need perfect legs, or a big backyard. Open the window, breathe deeply. Step outside with bare feet if you can. Let the world remind you, you're part of it. You're still here, and that matters. And as your body wakes up in the sunlight, your mind wants to wake up too. Because happy women don't just move, they stay curious. Let's talk about how they keep learning every single day. Habit 3. They stay curious and learn something new. You know what I've noticed about the happiest women I know over 70? They never stop asking questions. They're still curious about the world, about people, about how things work. In short, they keep learning. Now, I'm not talking about going back to school or memorizing Shakespeare, unless you want to, of course. I mean staying mentally open, reading a new article, listening to a podcast, asking your granddaughter how her phone works, and actually trying to understand it. It's that spark of curiosity that keeps us sharp, interested, and connected to the world around us. Here's why this matters. Neurologists say the brain is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it stays. Lifelong learning has been shown to delay memory loss, boost emotional well-being, and even reduce the risk of cognitive decline. When I turned 72, I decided to learn how to use YouTube. Not just watch videos, but really use it. My granddaughter showed me how, and now I follow cooking channels, travel documentaries, and even a woman my age teaching watercolor painting. I'm telling you, it made my world feel bigger again. You don't have to be tech savvy or a bookworm. Just ask yourself, what's one thing I'm curious about today? Maybe it's how to grow lavender, or who painted that picture in the hallway, or even how to cook a dish you've never tried. Follow that thread, because staying curious keeps you feeling young on the inside. And when you learn something new, you carry yourself differently. You feel proud, alive. And that energy, it shows up in how you dress, how you move, how you show up. Habit 4. They dress with intention. Now let's clear something up right away. This isn't about dressing to impress others. It's about dressing with intention for yourself. The happiest women I know over 70 don't stop caring about how they show up in the world. They get dressed with love, even if no one else will see them that day. Why? Because clothing carries energy. When you take the time to put on something that makes you feel comfortable, elegant, or even just put together, it tells your brain, I'm worth showing up for. And that changes how you carry yourself, even if it's just in your kitchen. Studies in psychology show that what we wear can actually affect our confidence, our posture, and even our mood. This is known as enclothed cognition. It's not about fashion, it's about intention. I'll tell you something funny. Every Sunday I wear my favorite pearl earrings, even if I'm just watching church online in my living room. Not because anyone will see them, but because it reminds me, this day matters. I matter. And on days when I feel a bit low, I reach for color, a bright scarf or floral blouse, just to lift my own spirit. You don't need a fancy wardrobe. You don't need to follow trends. Just ask yourself in the morning, how do I want to feel today? Then pick something, anything that honors that feeling. Soft and cozy, light and fresh, bold and joyful. Let your clothing be a quiet celebration of your presence. And when we carry ourselves with intention, we naturally begin to notice our words too, because here's something all happy women over 70 have learned. They've trained themselves to speak less about what's wrong and more about what's right. Habit 5. They limit complaining. Now this one, it took me years to learn. The happiest women over 70 I've ever known, they've developed the quiet power of not complaining. Not because their lives are perfect, not because they don't have aches, losses, or frustrations, but because they've realized something: complaining magnifies the problem. Gratitude shrinks it. Let's be real. Getting older comes with challenges, health changes, loss, slower days. But what separates the cheerful from the bitter isn't what happens to them, it's what they focus on. There was a time when I caught myself starting every phone call with a list of complaints. My knees hurt. The weather's awful. The world's falling apart. But one day my friend quietly said, "You know, I miss the way you used to talk about your garden." And I realized I'd let my voice become a vessel for everything wrong, so I decided to shift. Psychologists call it negativity bias. Our brains are wired to focus on the bad. But we're not stuck that way. We can train ourselves to notice what's still good, And when you do that daily, your heart gets lighter. It doesn't mean pretending things are perfect. It means choosing not to give your energy to complaints that don't change anything. So the next time you catch yourself about to vent, pause. Ask, is this helping me heal? Or just keeping me stuck? Then shift. Even a little. Talk about the bird you saw this morning, the neighbor who waved, the memory that made you smile. And when you quiet the noise of complaint, you begin to hear the music of life again. Habit 6. They move their body. The happiest women over 70 don't chase six-pack abs or try to keep up with 20-year-olds at the gym. But make no mistake, they move their bodies every single day. Why? Because they've learned this simple truth. Motion is medicine. You don't need fancy equipment or a perfect body. You just need to move what you can, how you can, for as long as you can. Even a short walk around the block, 10 minutes of stretching, dancing to your favorite song while making breakfast. Research shows that regular movement reduces joint pain, boosts balance, strengthens the heart, and even improves memory. It's not just about physical health. It protects your mind, your mood, your independence. In fact, women who stay active well into their 70s and beyond often live not just longer, but with more joy. Some mornings, I wake up stiff and tempted to skip it. But I remind myself, this body has carried me through decades. The least I can do is help it keep going. So I stretch slowly, I breathe deeply, I walk gently. And you know what? I always feel better afterward. Every time. Don't let perfection stop you. Start small. Walk to the mailbox. Circle your arms. Sit in a chair and move your legs. Even 10 minutes of gentle movement each day is a gift to your future self. Not punishment. Praise for the body that's still showing up for you. And when your body feels alive, your heart often follows. But the happiest women over 70 don't just care for their bodies. They tend to something even deeper. Their relationships. Habit 7. They connect with others daily. There's a kind of loneliness that can creep in as we get older. Quiet, subtle, but heavy. The happiest women over 70 know how to keep that loneliness at bay. How? They reach out. They connect. They make it a point every single day to talk, listen, and share a moment with another human being. Connection doesn't always mean a big social event. It could be a warm good morning to the mailman, a text to your sister, a chat with your friend from church, even a smile exchanged with someone at the grocery store. Because these little gestures, they matter. Loneliness, especially in older adults, has been linked to higher risks of heart disease, memory loss, and even depression. But the antidote isn't always a big party. It's presence. It's belonging. Just knowing that someone, somewhere, is thinking of you and you of them, keeps the soul nourished. Every morning I send a little voice note to my old friend Martha. Just a minute or two. Sometimes it's a funny thought. Sometimes it's a prayer. But it's our ritual. And it reminds me I'm not alone. And neither is she. You don't have to be the life of the party. But reach out. Call someone just to say hello. Join a book club or a walking group. Even write a letter. Yes, the old-fashioned kind. Because every time you open yourself to another person, your world grows wider. And so does your heart. When we nurture connection with others, we also deepen the connection we have with ourselves. That's why happy women over 70 aren't afraid of solitude. In fact, they've learned the beauty of embracing quiet and reflection. Let's talk about that next. Habit 8. They eat intentionally. One of the quietest secrets of happy women over 70 is how they treat their meals, not as a race or a chore, but as a moment to nourish their bodies and minds. They eat with intention. This means slowing down, truly tasting their food, and choosing what supports their health and energy. Eating intentionally isn't about strict diets or deprivation. It's about awareness, being present with your food, listening to your body's needs, choosing foods that bring vitality and joy, rather than guilt or confusion. As we age, our metabolism and digestive systems change. Our bodies need nutrient-rich foods that support bone health, brain function, and digestion. Think colorful vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, and whole grains. But equally important is how we eat. Mindful eating can improve digestion, reduce overeating, and even enhance the pleasure of each bite. I used to rush through meals, checking the clock, thinking about what's next. But now I take my time. I sit down without distractions. I breathe in the aroma of my food, and I taste each bite. It feels like a small celebration, a way of honoring this body that's carried me so far. You don't have to overhaul your diet overnight. Start with small changes. Maybe it's drinking a glass of water before your meal, adding one more vegetable to your plate, or simply putting down your fork between bites to really savor your food. These little habits can make a big difference, helping you feel stronger, clearer, and more connected to yourself. When we feed our bodies with kindness and care, our energy follows, and that energy fuels the next habit, something every happy woman over 70 makes time for: daily laughter. Habit 9. They nourish their spirit. Happiness after 70 isn't just about what we do on the outside. It's also deeply rooted inside, how we care for our spirit, our sense of purpose, and our inner peace. The happiest women I know don't just survive, they nourish their spirit every day. What does it mean to nourish your spirit? It's different for everyone. For some, it might be prayer or meditation. For others, it's time spent in nature, reading uplifting books, or creative expression like painting or writing. It's about doing what fills your soul, what makes your heart feel at home. Studies show that people who have a strong sense of meaning and connection to something larger than themselves tend to be more resilient to stress and enjoy better overall well-being. Spirit nourishment helps us find calm in the chaos and hope even in hard times. For me, it's morning meditation and quiet moments with a cup of tea before the day begins. It's the pause that centers me, reminds me to be present, to breathe, and to be grateful. And on days when life feels heavy, it's the steady anchor I return to. You don't have to change your whole routine. Just find one small thing that feeds your spirit each day. Maybe it's listening to music that lifts you, journaling your thoughts, or simply sitting outside and feeling the breeze. Nourishing your spirit isn't selfish, it's essential. When our spirit feels nourished, our joy shines brighter. And that joy inspires the next habit, embracing gratitude as a daily practice. Let's explore that next. Habit 10. They practice forgiveness daily. Forgiveness is one of the quietest and most powerful habits of happy women over 70. It's not about excusing hurt or forgetting mistakes. It's about freeing themselves from the heavy burden of anger, resentment, and pain. Every day they choose forgiveness, not for others, but for their own peace. Holding on to grudges can weigh on the heart and cloud our joy. But when we forgive, we open space for healing and lightness. Forgiveness lets us let go of what we cannot change and focus on the life still ahead. Psychologists have found that practicing forgiveness can reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and improve mental health. It's a gift we give ourselves, an act of self-love and courage. I remember holding on to hurt from a past disagreement for years, until one day I realized it was me who was suffering most. I began a simple practice. Each morning I silently told myself, "I forgive you, and I forgive them." It didn't change the past, but it changed how I carried it. You don't have to forgive all at once. Start small. Maybe it's forgiving yourself for a mistake. Maybe it's forgiving someone who upset you long ago. Even a moment of willingness to let go is progress. Because forgiveness is not a destination, it's a journey of peace. When forgiveness lightens your heart, you make room for something beautiful, giving back. Happy women over 70 find joy and purpose in generosity. Habit 11. They laugh on purpose. Laughter is medicine, pure and simple. Happy women over 70 don't just wait for funny moments to come along. They create them. They laugh on purpose, because they know that laughter lifts the spirit, eases stress, and connects us to joy, no matter our age. You might think laughter just happens, but the happiest women make space for it every day. They watch funny shows, share jokes, reminisce about silly moments, or simply let themselves be playful. Science tells us laughter triggers the release of endorphins, those feel-good chemicals in our brain. It lowers stress hormones, relaxes muscles, and even boosts the immune system. And best of all, it's free, and it's available anytime. I've found that when life feels heavy, laughter is like a breath of fresh air. Sometimes I'll call a friend just to share a funny story, or watch a silly video together. Those moments remind me, not everything has to be serious. There's so much joy still waiting to be found. You don't have to be a comedian to laugh more. Try these simple ideas. Watch a comedy you loved when you were younger. Read a funny book, or listen to a light-hearted podcast. Spend time with someone who makes you smile. Or even just let yourself be silly. Dance, make funny faces in the mirror, or play with a grandchild or pet. Laughter fills the heart, but the happiest women over 70 also fill their lives with meaning. The final habit of happy women over 70 is simple yet profound. They end their day with gratitude. Before closing their eyes, they take a quiet moment to reflect on what went well, what brought them joy, and the small blessings often overlooked. Gratitude isn't about ignoring the hard parts of life. It's about choosing to focus on what uplifts us, however small. A kind word, a warm cup of tea, the sound of birds outside. These moments remind us there is still beauty and goodness every day. Studies show that practicing gratitude regularly can improve sleep, reduce anxiety, and increase overall happiness. It rewires our brain to notice the positive, helping us feel more at peace. Each night, I jot down 3 things I'm thankful for. Sometimes they're simple: a smile from a stranger, a call from a friend, the comfort of my favorite blanket. This practice helps me let go of worries and sleep with a lighter heart. You don't need a fancy journal or long lists. Just pause. Think of one good thing that happened today. Let that feeling fill your heart before you rest. It's a small habit with the power to transform your nights and your days. So there you have it. 12 habits happy women over 70 live by every day. Simple, intentional, and full of love for themselves and their lives. Remember, happiness is not a destination, but a daily practice, and it's never too late to start. As we've seen today, happiness in our later years isn't about chasing perfection or trying to do everything. It's about small daily choices, simple habits that nourish our body, mind, and spirit. Each one a gentle step toward more joy, peace, and purpose. I invite you to try one of these habits tomorrow. Maybe it's starting your morning with intention, or reaching out to someone you love, or simply finding a moment to laugh. Remember, it's never too late to live a happier, fuller life. If this video inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe, so more women can discover the joy that comes with embracing these beautiful habits. And tell me in the comments, which habit will you try first? I'd love to hear your story. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Here's to your happiness, health, and the wonderful journey ahead.